We're talking relationship, Masters of the Heart. Heart Bay is next, and it's physical attraction. And I know a lot of you love it. So, yeah, watch this. Right, so let me introduce my guest for the morning. She's a relationship expert, author of more than 37 books. She would have to correct me, right? She's written more than 30 books. 40 books? Oh, Michelle McKinney-Hammond, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And welcome. Also, we have Daniel Odonko. He is a young entrepreneur, and I like entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show as well. Are you in a relationship, by the way?
Currently, yes.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Aw, that's so cute. Okay, all right. So we're talking about the importance of physical attraction in a relationship. There's no denying how important it is. I mean, before any man gets to know you, he sees you, he likes it. Before, you know, they think whether you're smart, whether you're clean at home or not. So, I mean, just share a lot with us. You know, when people come to you and say, oh, I found somebody, I think she looks cute. And what do you tell them about how the person looks and how that is not going to remain same forever?
Well, you know, I always tell people, if you want to know what your girlfriend or your boyfriend is going to look like in 20 years, look at their parents. Because we do evolve as we age, and some people take care of themselves and some people don't. But we have to know up front that men are moved by what they see, women are moved by what they hear. So those are the two areas of attraction. What we have to know realistically is that people do change. So we can't have an expectation of them looking the way they look now, 20 years from now.
Sure.
Of course, love covers a multitude of sins. So usually, as the six-pack is fading, so is her six-pack. And so you just accept one another together.
But somehow that change for women is a bit more difficult. Because men are, yes, they age. Women also age gracefully, by the way, but there's some sort of forgiving when it comes to the man and how he ages. Why is that?
Well, you know, it's interesting that you bring that up, because we say women are beautiful and then they become attractive as they get older. Men become handsome as they get older. And we tend to be more forgiving, you're right, of men as they get older, unless the six-pack becomes a 20-pack. Then we kind of, you know, we don't like that. I think that there's an expectancy for women's bodies to change because they bear children. You know, they go through different changes. So, but at the same time, I find that a lot of men have problems when women don't make the effort to take care of themselves,
especially after babies. We'll get to the changes, you know, whether if the changes is, you know, natural and sudden. But for you, I know it's important, and I love the big grin on your face. But as a young man, top 10, right? If you're 1 to 10, how important is it to you, physical attraction?
Well, I think that physical attraction, as Michelle said.
Give me the number first.
The number first.
Yes, 1 to 10. Now.
3.
3?
Yeah.
So the 7 is what?
Well, I mean, the first 3, to me, I would look at the heart, the brain before the the physical.
Oh, you see the physical.
He's an evolved man.
I am struggling to even get that. Really?
Yeah.
For you, why is it the way you were brought up?
I mean, I think you would have to take time to know the person before you end up. Because some people date for, like, you know, the fun of it, but you know, if you're in a relationship and you have, you know, a very good mindset about the relationship, you have, you know, prospects of, you know, ending up with a person. I don't think the physical should be the prime, because at the end, as Michelle said, it will fade.
Okay, but Michelle, does it matter what kind of relationship it is? I'm sorry,
most
but
definitely.
You know, yes, because I mean, if you go into a relationship, you're hoping that maybe it would end in something. But unfortunately, we have sort of fleeting relationships.
Sure, there are a lot of shallow people in the world. Let's face it, and they get together for different reasons. They get together based on just attraction, and that usually fizzles out after some time. The chemical response to one another gives, you have a period of about a year before it fizzles out, and then it's next, or it can be even sooner, depending on where that person is mentally and spiritually. Then there's another sector of people who are actually looking for quality relationships. So like he said, they take the time to really know the person and to look at the inside, because you can have the most attractive person physically and they can be so ugly inside that it's a turn off and you don't even see the beauty on the outside. So there are a lot of factors, and I think that men are getting to a place where they're evolving more and discovering what's really important to them on a long-term basis. I think that's why you have a lot of younger men actually dating older women at this point, because the complaint is that younger women don't know what they want, they're shallow, they're into just the material things, where an older woman is more settled in who she is, she's comfortable in the skin she is in, and confidence is very attractive to a man. If you have a woman that's gorgeous but insecure, she's not an attractive woman to a man. So an older woman sometimes is more confident, she knows what she wants, she's not into all the small drama stuff, and they find that more attractive. So you're finding now that there's two camps, basically, of what is found to be attractive. But men are interested in the heart condition, they are interested in the mind, and they're interested in what the woman is actually interested in.
Absolutely. So go on our Facebook and Twitter pages at NewDay on TV3 and NewDay on TV3 if you're on Facebook, and then post your your comments. I would want to know what it means to you. And but the physical attraction first could be a starter for that love relationship, because there's got to be some ground where you start from.
I mean, like, something should attract you, because I mean, you can't, I would say that you can't convince a monkey that strawberries are sweeter than bananas, if you know you don't like a man with a hairy chest, don't go for it. Just don't go into that area. If you know you don't like very light.
You can wax and do threading. Right.
Yeah, men. As Michelle said, men are moved by what they see. Sure. So if you are deceived by the made up face, and I mean later in life, she starts to wrinkle and stuff like that.
What will happen? Well, by the way, it's good. Makeup's not bad.
It's not.
No, but Michelle, then let's talk about the changes. Some of the changes is time. Like you said, we grow, we age, but it's sudden. How about the sudden one? For instance, somebody is involved in an accident, and that girl, right, or she's burnt. The face you used to see is no longer that face. And whether we like it or not, there's a psychological battle that she goes through. Would you forgive somebody whose wife or partner is involved in that, and at some point the man says, I've done enough, but we just can't continue this relationship?
Well, I think, I mean, there are lots of stories about people who've gotten disfigured, and the love was still very strong between those two people, and they were able to stay together because that person's now looking at the inner beauty and the beauty that they've had in the relationship overall. Some people are shallow, that's where I'm going to put it, and they can't get past that. And there are men, their wives gain weight, and it is a physical turn off for them. They ask their wife to do something about it. The wife still doesn't do anything about it, and it can create a problem in the relationship. So but once again, I will point to how is that person handling themselves in the midst of weight gain or disfigurement, because confidence is a much more attractive feature. So some people gain weight and they're sexy because they're happy in the skin they're in. And I mean, I have a girlfriend who's very heavy set, and men are always running after her because she dresses in tight things and she likes her body. And so there's a sexiness that exudes from the confidence that defies the stereotype of what the world says is beautiful. So I think that we have to be very careful about our mindset and how we accept ourselves when changes happen in our body.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that opportunity, Daniel, but we're going to Solace Rose Quote, and she's been monitoring our social media platforms to tell us, what people are saying. And also think about this, have you ever been to, let's say, a club and you see this girl, that this girl is so ugly, and yes, all the men are running to her. Why? She's oozing something you just can't touch. Solace.
Okay, so we're asking you today on Heartbeat, physical attraction to your partner. How important is it? And basically, what makes you attracted to your partner? And let's quickly find out what you guys had to say about that. Inkata Ennis says, well, I'm single, so no partner. But without attraction, you can't approach someone. The attraction is what will even let you think about sex. So partners really need to be attractive to each other. Archbishop says, attraction is everything that makes you find comfort in your partner, so everything counts. Sex is only a part of it. Benjamin Doughboy Dusty says, I would love my woman to look presentable so as to be proud when walking with her or introducing her to my friends and family. If she's not physically attractive, trust me, I'll lock her up in my room when going out. You're funny. Calculus really says, it's not all about having sex with your partner which attracts you to him or her, but it's also about the way you treat each other. Free Dusty says, let's go down a little. Free Dusty says, if my woman appears neat and looks pretty all the time, it doesn't matter how many times we have sex, she'll still be attracted to me. Or she, okay. Wisdom Wale One says, it depends on how your partner treats you. And yes, I'm still attracted to my partner. It's not all about sex. Frida Frempon says, yes, it's a matter because it's not always about sex, but just to be together. Okila Edwards said, it's not all about sex. Attraction counts the most. Let me do a final one and then we'll quickly head back to the studio. Nabakope says, as for me, I love fashion, so I always try to look good and I'm not a sex fan. I make sure my sweetheart always looks smart and neat in everything he puts on. Love is not only about sex, but note attraction also counts. You have to look good. And Skinny 1GH says, the appearance and costume of your partner can attract more than having sex. So those are the comments that you have been sending to us here on NewDay. Don't forget the hashtag is TV3NewDay and it's NewDay on TV3 on both Twitter and Facebook. My name is Solis Rose Corte. Over to you, Bridget Otu, in the studio as Heartbeat continues.
Thank you very much, Solis Rose Corte. We'll talk about, whether physical attraction simply means, it has to lead to sex,
right.
Because I think that's the impression that we're getting from the messages that we read there. But how about you? When this change is sudden, I know you've talked about how you're more depth. I mean, the physical, is important, but there's something else that has to be there. So what happens, when that sudden change happens? Whether it's from accident, burns?
Yeah, I think that when that sudden change happens, then you forlook the physical, then you tend to focus on the inner beauty of the person, because that is what is going to keep you on the long term, because
but if you're shallow, you've been obsessed with this woman's face, something, her eyes. I mean, look at Michelle's pretty eyes, and, and that bit of it. Then does that mean that you have to seek counsel then? Yeah,
you would have to seek counsel, because if you're moved only by the beauty, then I think that
it's not really good.
It's not a good thing.
Okay, all right.
Michelle, let me give you an interesting example. Sure. I have a girlfriend who was paralyzed from the waist down for 23 years.
Wow.
She met her husband in her wheelchair. He married her, and he's a very handsome and successful man. He married her in her wheelchair, but she miraculously got healed like 9 years after they were married, and now she's walking. So I'm using that as something to say it can't just be about the outward, because you don't know what God's going to do in a person's life. And obviously he married her for something that was inside of her versus out, because how many men would just voluntarily marry someone who's paralyzed in a wheelchair? And I just thought that was so admirable. But he got a real prize who added to his life and now is miraculously walking. So
that's actually a very, very touching one. But were you surprised a lot of them were linking physical attraction, to sex?
Yeah. I thought that was very interesting.
I was stunned too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
What does that tell you about where we are, the mindset of the people?
That we're very sexual people, and I think that the media has a lot to do with that. We're bombarded with images of people meeting and hooking up right away without finding out the details of a person. We move on just the physical first, and we get more involved than we should before we know who the person really is, which then leads to extensive heartbreak. So we have a lot of wounded people walking around, and wounded people hurt other wounded people. So we're not caught up in a cycle in relationships where no one really trusts one another, but we created this cycle somehow because of just the emphasis on physical versus internal.
Okay. When your friends meet, how do they talk about women? What's the conversation, when this girl is coming, she's pretty, what conversation goes? What do they think about, when you're picking a woman? What's important to them?
Well, I think in recent times, I think a lot of men, look
I'm
at
asking your friends.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
well, with my friends, I think that we all look at the long term. Trust me.
Really?
Because
Interesting.
there's no time to waste.
Okay.
Unless,
Time no day.
unless of course you're dating for just dating sake. But if you really are serious about your relationship, you definitely look at the long term instead of just looking at maybe the girl's breast or yeah.
All right. All the boys just says you're lying. They say you. He's not representing that guy. Oh, he is. He's today's man. He's thinking.
I think that men
You
are
think they're
becoming a bit
changing?
more. I think they're changing. You know why? Because they're watching their friends who've been married before them and the issues that they're dealing with. And they're learning from them that it's not just about looks. It's about the long term of what is my relationship going to look like? Not just what the person is going to look like.
Okay.
You could have a beautiful woman or a gorgeous man who just brings drama to your life. I mean, there's nothing else there. They're good to look at, but they're horrible to live with.
Okay.
And I think that people want longer, satisfying relationships. So they're beginning to look beyond.
You spoke about this earlier, but just for clarity and emphasis, that a lot of it responsibility depends on the individual who is changing. How are they handling themselves? So
Yes.
you have a woman, she had pretty breasts, she had a baby on the boobs and all of that, and the man also loves the boobs. But now the man comes home, she's walking about all of it, hanging, thinking that it's just for the baby. What advice would you give to people like that who let themselves go and forget that you need to take care of the man as you're taking care of the baby?
Well, the baby's going to grow up and leave, and you're going to be stuck with the man, or the man's going to leave. So we still have to keep romance alive. It's very important to remember the order in your house, that your mate is first and then your children, because children do grow up and leave. And if you're not nurturing your relationship with your mate, when your children leave, you'll be left with a stranger, and that's when a lot of marriages fall apart. People end up staying together just for the sake of the children, and once they become empty nesters, then divorce occurs because they haven't nurtured their relationship, and now they're like, who are you? And we haven't evolved as a couple. So it's very, very important to know that your mate comes first and then your child.
Absolutely. Do your friends pick on you, for instance, because of the sort of principles you have? Because I think you represent a very different breed, very responsible breed.
Well, there are some. Definitely, there are some that will go
like they think
they think you're boring, but
boring is good.
Yeah,
Yeah, boring is good.
but I think I'm secure in my life. I'm secure in my future because I think that the second most important decision for every human being is your marriage. The first is your salvation, and the second is your marriage. So if
your parent must be proud of you.
So
go ahead. I think you're making an amazing point.
Yeah. So your marriage can either make you or break you. You don't take chances on that.
Okay, so look into that camera and speak to your friends who are watching you. Well, to say that no, me I like that girl, and the body. Are you worried about whether a woman is curvaceous or whatever, slim and slender? Are you those things? Are you?
Well,
do you have any sort of orientation?
Well, a part of it,
Okay.
But that is not the prime.
Sure.
That is not the prime. So I think that if you're a young man and you're coming up, the physique shouldn't be your prime.
Sure.
Make sure that you look at the heart, you look at the intellect, the mindset, and then the physique.
All right. That's a very good one. Michelle, final words for people who are currently in that same space where they have let themselves go. I mean, he's giving it to the young people, and I think that it's never too late, is it?
It's never too late to get it together. We have gyms, we have roads to walk on. Find something to do.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's not even just about the other person. It's about how you feel about you.
Sir. Yeah.
So always make it your aim to be the best you that you can be.
Okay, so Michelle McKinney-Hammond, relationship expert and counselor. Oh, by the way, you gave me the diva principle.
Yeah.
And a different kind of diva, of course, the divine diva.
Yes.
I know. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming,
you.
and also Daniel Odonko, young entrepreneur.